Hi everybody, it's me, Karen. I wanted to talk to you about electric cars. And when I think about electric cars, I think about Tesla. And when I think about Tesla, I think about Elon Musk. Now, I didn't know too much about him prior to researching the material for this speech. And, I would see him in the news, and again, I just kind of thought he was like a little eccentric and bizarre and a little dry. But, I didn't really know too much about him or his beginnings or other things that he's been involved in. So in researching this speech, I found out a little bit more about him, and I was like, this guy's pretty interesting. Still bizarre and dry, but interesting nonetheless. He is like a walking real life Tony Stark. And if you don't know who Tony Stark is, watch a Marvel movie, get back to me, because you've been living under a rock if you do not know who Tony Stark is. No, but he actually did a cameo in an Iron Man movie, so kind of like a funny connection there. And maybe that's what they were trying to convey, but I didn't really realize it until I was researching it, and then I remembered the moment in that movie when he was in it. I was like, oh wow, that was him. So at the age of 12, he invented a video game and then sold it to a computer magazine. And from there, obviously, he's very educated. He actually went to the University of Pennsylvania. He got his bachelor's at the University of Pennsylvania, which is kind of like right in our backyard. So I found that to be interesting. And one of the first big things, I should say, companies that he was involved in was PayPal. He was actually a co-founder of PayPal, and they ended up selling PayPal to eBay in 2002 for about $1.5 billion. And in addition to that, he is currently the CEO of SpaceX, which is an aerospace manufacturer and space transport services company. And they have launched rockets. They have taken supplies in those rockets to the space station. You could even, if you had roughly about $1 million laying around doing nothing, collecting dust, you could use that $1 million to pretty much buy the most expensive Uber ride in a rocket you've ever taken. Because SpaceX, you can do that. They have scheduled launches where you can pay. It starts at $1 million, and I'm sure it goes up from there depending on what package you choose. But you can pay to be launched into space and do a little orbit ride. So that was pretty cool. And he is also the co-founder of a company called Neuralink, which is a neurotechnology company focused on developing brain-computer interfacing, so you could ultimately control smart devices with your brain just by like thinking about it, instead of pushing a button or commanding a remote or anything like that. You just think with your brain what you want this thing to do, and it does it. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that existed, and after reading some of the things that I know he's involved in, it doesn't surprise me because he's very forward thinking and he looks into the future. And as we know, he is the CEO of Tesla, which is the electric vehicle manufacturer, and they are currently the leading electric vehicle manufacturer in the market here in the United States. They hold about a 60% market share for the electric vehicles. Their mission and vision statement was interesting to read on the Tesla website. Their mission is to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport by bringing compelling mass market electric cars to market as soon as possible. So that's happening. I don't know what their definition of mass market is. I don't think that they're currently producing that many Teslas at the moment, but they are certainly producing more than they did in the very beginning, so they're obviously gaining some traction. And the vision, I liked the vision, and that was to create the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving the world's transition to electric vehicles. If any company is able to do that to get us to a better place, it would be Tesla. Their technology, their safety features, they're second to none. When you compare them to other vehicles, they really are. They're expensive, but they seem to be worth it. If you had that money to do so, I mean, I know if I had the money to buy a Tesla, I would. I just think they're cool cars. Not my first choice, but I mean, I do think they're cool. The safety features that they promote are the structure of the car, the structural integrity of the car, the battery placement, which allows for larger crumple zones, so if you were into an accident, there's more room there. The autopilot function is something that they really are very proud of, and the technology in the car to mitigate any accidents is there as well. And they unveiled the Roadster in 2008. That was their first model that they unveiled in 2008, and they produced that for about 4 years. They stopped production in January of 2012. And that was a 4-seater sports car. It was the first highway legal serial production all-electric car to use lithium-ion battery cells. And it was the first electric car to travel over 200 miles on one charge. And just a fun little side note, one of his rocket launches in 2018, they launched a Tesla up into space, and it orbited. And it was pretty cool. The Model S is a premium all-electric sedan. That was their next model that they released, and that was voted best in class. The Model X is the SUV. Then they have the Model 3, and then they are going to be releasing this year, I believe, the Model Y, which is a more affordable Tesla, and it starts at about $46,000. So the Roadster, when it came out, that averaged between, it would start at about 80, and it went up in upwards of $120,000. Now, in addition to the costs associated with purchasing a Tesla, there's also the cost of charging a Tesla, which actually is significantly less than paying for gasoline. Now, the average cost for electric is about 25 cents per kilowatt. So the data that I was reading, they mentioned a full charge from home would be about $15. So if you plugged in your car at home, it would be about a $15 per full charge for one charge. So when you compare, if you're driving, a mid-size SUV, or I know I personally range to fill my tank with gas about $35 to $40, depending on what the cost of gas is at the time. So 15 compared to 35, 40, that's a big savings as far as the operating costs of the vehicle go. The charging stations that you see at the gas stations, and I'm seeing more and more of them actually. I hardly ever saw them before, but now I see them popping up all over. That for a full charge is about $22. And the Teslas come with different size batteries. So there's the smaller batteries, and you can run about 230 miles on one charge. And then there's the larger batteries that will get you about 360 miles per charge. And the warranty on the batteries, Tesla guarantees them for 8 years. That's a really good warranty, because a lot of your gas-powered vehicles are 5 years, 60,000 miles. Everybody's different, right? So they have some future technology. They have semi-trucks that they're going to be producing, not in mass quantities, I'm sure, but so the Tesla Semi, and then they have a Cybertruck coming out, and that looks like something out of a Mad Max movie. I mean, I don't know who's going to drive that. Maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger. I have no idea. But it's cool, but it's very futuristic looking. And when you think about electric cars, you think about what the transition is going to look like. We obviously are seeing more electric cars on the road, but I believe that a full transition to electric cars to be more of the norm, I think that's still decades away. You know, according to the new report by Bloomberg, New Energy Finance, 58% of global passenger vehicle sales in 2040 will come from electric vehicles. Yet they will make up, they said, less than 33% of all cars on the road. And that's 2040. So we're 20 years away from that. So we have some time. And I really thought that we would be there more by now, but we're not. And the report also outlined that electric vehicles will hit 10% global passenger vehicle sales in 2025, and that number would rise to 28% in 2030, and then 58%, like I just mentioned, in 2040. I'd like to wrap up the discussion by asking everyone to think, if you could, at this very moment, would you buy a Tesla? And if you would, why? And if you wouldn't, why? I probably would. I would not have it as my daily driver. But I do think that we are going in the direction of being more environmental friendly, and it's better for the environment. It reduces the global warming. It's cheaper. I just think they have to become more affordable for everyone. You know, not everyone can roll around in an $80,000 Tesla. So I think if they really want that to be the norm, they really have to think about how they can drive that technology to be more affordable for everyone. And I think that they'll get there maybe a little quicker than they originally anticipated. So thanks for listening, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. Bye.